Hello, hello, and welcome back to day 5 of From Frustrated to Free 5 Steps to Restore Balance, Focus, and Freedom to Your Health Journey. I am so excited you are here. You have already worked through steps 1 through 4. And if you remember, in step 1, we talked about restoring your personal value. In step 2, we talked about getting out of your head and start thinking about how you're thinking. And that was a challenge because a lot of times we think ourselves out of what we can actually do. So we talked about how to get out of your head. In step 3, I challenge you to evaluate and redefine your health goals. In step 4, I encourage you to get real and identify those barriers that are actually keeping you from being successful. And today we're going to pull it all together and we're going to talk about how to act meaningfully with a better plan. So this is session 5 of our free 5-day video course, Take Action. I want you to act meaningfully with a better plan because knowing what to do is great, but knowing how to do it secures success. So the focus of this particular step is taking action. And this is probably going to sound completely oversimplified, but I think in many cases we already know what we need to do to get healthy, to restore some balance and focus and even a little bit of freedom in our lives. But a lot of times we don't know how to do it. So it's one thing to know what to do, but something else to know how to do it. And so my goal for this learning session is for you to walk away with having a better understanding of how to go through this process, how to get this process started. I am so passionate about action because action is critical to success and sanity. In the absence of doing, we can't possibly expect for anything to really change in our lives. And that goes for our work, our career, our family issues, and especially our health. And so we can plan all day long. We can have the best strategies in place, but if we refuse to act on those plans and those strategies, then we're not going to get anywhere. So I just want to really encourage you to be bold, be brave, and let's get to action in this process. One of the things that I asked you to do in session 4 was to critically assess your barriers. And I told you, really take some time with that. You may have to go back and rethink it, be honest, write some things down, come back the next day, look at them, decide if it really makes sense, be willing to search yourself emotionally and then mentally, and then see how that impacts you physically. But knowing these barriers are such an important step in taking action, because if we're not willing to say, okay, my main barrier is this, then we can't strategize our way around it. The other thing that I want to encourage you to think about is the want versus willing concept. This was something that I think helped me get really focused on my health changes when I went through my process over 2.5 years ago to really reclaim my health in a meaningful way. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I really wanted to do for myself, but I hadn't really come to terms with what I was willing to do. And willing implies a higher level of accountability. It implies that you are truly connecting with who you are and what you value. And it also implies what you're willing to sacrifice in some cases to get done what needs to get done. So when I say want versus willing, I want you to stop and think critically about what you say you want in your health, what your goals are, and then challenge yourself to say, well, what am I willing to do? And identify those action steps in your process, because that willingness is what will get you over the hurdle and moving into positive spaces with your health. Now, the reason why I'm so passionate about action is because we get frustrated and we get stuck and we get stagnant because we aren't doing anything. We're overthinking, we're over strategizing, we're over planning, but we're not acting. And the universe doesn't give you what you ask for with your thoughts. It gives you what you demand with your actions. You have to be willing to get going. Take one step, then take another if you want to see meaningful change in your health. Smart action equals that balance, freedom, and focus you so envision, desire, and deserve. And notice I said smart action, not just any action. And so, what I'm going to do here in the next couple of minutes is tell you how to plan your actions in a smart way so that what you can commit to and what you're willing to do actually makes sense for your life and you can get unstuck once and for all. So, let's talk about smart actions. When you talk about smart actions, I want you to first think about setting specific goals, also known as SMART goals. If you work in business, you may have heard of this SMART acronym before. But in health promotion and health education, we also talk about SMART goals. And those are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. Now, I want to encourage you to go over to my website and read more about SMART goals on my blog, because what happens is when we engage SMART goals, we are now setting ourselves up for realistic expectations, okay? And also an action plan that can actually work. When we set goals that are not SMART, they have no time frame, they aren't reasonable, we can't measure them, okay? Then we are also setting ourselves up for failure. So setting this SMART specific goal is step one in your SMART action plan. Let me give you an example of a specific goal. Here's one. I will eat a piece of fruit for my afternoon snack on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday next week instead of a cookie or potato chips. Sounds simple enough, but it's smart because it's specific, you can measure it, it's actually something that's attainable, it's reasonable, and you set a time frame for that goal. I'll give you another example. I will broil and steam foods at dinner on Sunday and Wednesday next week instead of frying. Notice that you chose 2 days out of the week. So it's also attainable. It's not unrealistic. It's something that's actually doable. It's a meaningful step toward health behavior change. And you can apply that to anything. You could apply it to your goals for meditation. You could apply it to your goals for exercise. Just remember that you have to include a time factor and also something that is measurable. Those two elements are extremely important in your SMART goal planning. Then what I want you to do is take meaningful steps toward that goal. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, keeping the nutrition theme that I use for telling you what specific goals look like, you could keep a record of what, when, and how much you eat for the next week. It doesn't say you have to do it for the rest of your life, but just for the next week. Why do you need to do that? Because immediately what you're doing is you're heightening the accountability over that new behavior that you're trying to include in your life. These steps have to be doable and they need to be simple. You don't have to overthink it, nor do you have to compound 15 different steps to reach that goal of just simply, let's say, not frying your food and broiling your food. This is where the step to action becomes meaningful. Not only did I make it specific and smart, but I also took a meaningful, doable step to get that goal accomplished. After you've set your SMART goal and begin to take meaningful steps, I want you to create your bigger plan for change. So this would be your action plan. Now, when you create an action plan, really all you have to keep in mind is, what am I willing to do daily, and then weekly, and then throughout the month to secure my new behavior? I've set a goal. I know that this behavior is required. I'm going to take meaningful steps. Now, what am I willing to do for the next few days, over the next couple of weeks, and then, of course, across the month to actually get it done? This represents your short-term action plan. Now, you can use an action plan worksheet, and I have one linked on my website under printables. And it's a really simple process that you can use for just a single goal. And so I encourage you to go and look at that, because through this 5-day process, what I'm really trying to encourage you to do is just look at your barrier to health that is of most importance and then structuring a goal around that one barrier. So what one thing can I change and how can I create a new action plan to get over that barrier? The other critical part of this action plan is adopting the plan and then keep going with the plan. Over time, you have to check in with yourself. You have to evaluate, is this action working for me? I said that I would broil my food on Sundays and Wednesdays, but do I really need to do it on Saturday when I have more time and energy? Do I like to go to church and spend time with family on Sunday and therefore I don't have as much time to do food prep? Do I need to move it to another day? This is an example of making an adaptation and evaluating the actions you've chosen to do. And you have to evaluate from time to time. You have to look back and say, have I met my goal? Did I do what I said I was going to do in week 1? If I did, how did it go? Was it a strain for me to actually spend half of my lunchtime walking, or did it work well? Did I have trouble with putting down the cigarettes for a week, or did it drive me crazy? And if you are in those spaces where you saw that you had trouble with the behavior, let's go back. Let's re-strategize. Now, let's not go back to the beginning and revert back to the behavior, but I'm saying you have to be willing to re-strategize and evaluate and adapt your plan to meet your needs. So it's just as simple as thinking about what's working and what's getting in your way, and then working around what's getting in your way, and keep doing what's working. I tell y'all, we just spend so much time overthinking this process, and I really want us to get focused, and I want us to get confident about what we can accomplish and what we can do, because a lot of times what we want to do is within our reach. It really is, but we get lost and we get frustrated and we get stuck and we don't know what to do. And my sincere hope and goal is that as you go through and you set these specific goals and you take meaningful steps toward the goal, you create your plan, you evaluate and you adapt the plan and you keep going, that you're going to see that shift toward positive movement in your health. You're going to see that shift toward positive balance, and you're going to be refocused, and you're going to start to live in your freedom of knowing that you are doing good things for yourself, that your body is responding, and that you are so worth it. Well, ladies, that about wraps up our session number 5, day 5 of the free 5-day video course from Frustrated to Free. I am so excited that you took the time to go through this process, and I hope that as you continue to go back and listen and work through each of the 5 steps in your life, that you will move from stuck to free, from frustrated to free. And just know that I'm here. I'm here to continue to encourage you and support you. Keep looking out for more free courses and free workshops that are coming your way. I just want to see women live the healthiest, balanced lives they can, because so many women are desiring that, and you deserve it. You deserve it. My name is Dr. Kim Brody. Thank you so much for participating on this 5-day video course. I love you all dearly. Let's get back together soon.